Hey, welcome to the second course video for the song The Hype from 21 Pilots' 2018 album Trench. I'm musically malnourished, and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. In these videos, we do a deep dive into the lyrics and meaning behind the music. So if you haven't seen the reaction, you can do that, but let's hop in and see what's going on here. The Hype is the sixth single off 21 Pilots' fifth LP, Trench. The track reached the third spot on Billboard's US Hot Rock Songs. The song touches upon topics such as maintaining hope through difficult times, both mentally and physically. The lyrics encourage the listener to keep faith and push through hard times, whether the difficulty is coming from an internal or external source. When asked about The Hype by Coup de Main magazine, Tyler stated that the narration is meant to be told from the point of view of a younger version of himself. Oh, that's cool insight. Tyler Joseph told his fans in a Reddit AMA that The Hype was one of the most difficult songs he tackled on Trench as far as the writing. Naturally, this tells us that the subject matter is complex to Tyler, most likely representing emotions he finds difficult to convey through song. When asked about The Hype, he said, "I think that song in particular I wanted to go back to. When I was a bit younger, maybe even in grade school, just some of the production of that song reminded me of that. But also lyrically addressing who I was when I was a bit younger and what I wish I would have heard. That song particularly is kind of talking about the difference between an internal pressure and external pressure. A lot of the things I write about come from wrestling with an internal pressure, but there are those external pressures of the world around us that can be addressed as well. And that song particularly addresses those in a way that just an encouragement to keep going, to let things roll off your back that deserve to be put aside." The hype is what the world is telling him. Tyler's depression causes internal thoughts to haunt him. Since a lot of his songs deal with these internal thoughts and ideas, Tyler decided to make this one about the external ideas that come to him too. Oh, cool. There's a video for it. So we'll get that up on Patreon. "Sometimes I feel cold, even paralyzed. My interior world needs to sanitize. I've got to step through or I'll dissipate. I'll record my step through for my basement tapes." I'm curious about this line about basement tapes. If that has to do with and we'll click on it and see what it says in a second. Like the songs that won't ever reach anybody, that are just for himself. And obviously my interior world needs to sanitize, meaning like the things going on inside my mind, I need to work out, clear out, and that I've got to step through, like I've got to get on the other side, it sounds like, get into a better mode of thinking. The phrase basement tapes are a possible reference to Tyler's first ever known album, no pun intended, released in 2007. We still need to go back and listen to that, which he recorded in his parents' basement. The song's sound is reminiscent of the sounds that are heard on the album. Oh, that's interesting. The similar sounds from No Pun Intended, Tyler's original album, may be a stylistic choice, as when asked about this song by Coup de Magazine, Tyler stated that some of the production of The Hype reminded me of that, but also lyrically addressing who I was when I was a bit younger. This holistic look at the past is Tyler's step through or process of growing. Moreover, Trench was recorded in Tyler's basement studio in his house. Oh, cool. I'll have to go back to this interview as well. "Nice to know my kind will be on my side. I don't believe the hype. And you know you're a terrible sight, but you'll be just fine. Don't believe the hype." So yeah, before I look here, I guess what I was kind of drawing from that, nice to know my kind will be on my side, I don't believe the hype, is that you can receive all this hype as a person, but him just knowing the people that really understand what he's trying to communicate, that really understand the way that he feels as well. Because, right, he's often speaking to people that have been through the same things he's been through and is going through. And you know you're a terrible sight. It is kind of this idea that because you know you're a terrible sight, but you'll be just fine, is that Like maybe as you're working through things, you may not appear the best version of yourself. Or even if outwardly you kind of can put on a good face, but like you ultimately are kind of a terrible sight, if somebody really digs down like, hey, how you really doing? But that's okay. You'll be just fine. It's kind of like a person out camping, might be dirty, might have cuts on them, could be cold, could be hot. And it's like, oh, you're a terrible sight. And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'll be fine. I know because where I'm at and how I look and everything like that, but like, I'll get through it. Here, we'll see what this says. Tyler responds to the hype around 21 Pilots created by the success of Blurryface. He describes, the isolation helps when creating something. I think that people would assume the pressure of, making another record to follow, kind of something that was considered a big moment for us in our career, would be the pressure when really it's the tiny comments that I think about. Like when someone, like a friend's mom, says, I love your last record, I could just press play and listen to the whole thing as I worked out. Something tiny like that when I'm working on a song will all of a sudden like, wait, can they work out to this? That's interesting. It's the tiny little comments about the music and the decisions made in it that if I let too much of that in, it can completely affect if I turn left or right. There's this outer layer noise that I just considered to be not relevant. But what is that fan that is really understands and has tracked with me up into this point? How is this hitting them? And the story builds from there. He's learned to trust his kind, whether that be family and friends or a core group of the Banditos, as well as himself over his larger audience. And he warns the younger version of himself to do the same. Tyler admonishes the younger version of himself that even when he was in a terrible state physically or mentally, not to let people dissuade him. Back in Before You Start Your Day, from the band's first official studio album, Joseph described the connection between thoughts and physical appearance. Open the slits in your face and start your day. You don't have much time to make your slits look just right. I'm in your mind. Look in the mirror and ask your soul if you're all right. Put on the glitter that your soul hides behind. Yeah, they might be talking behind your head. Your exterior world can step off instead. It might take some friends in a warmer shirt, but you don't get thick skin without getting burnt. This line, your exterior world can step off instead. I was trying to think about what I thought with that. And honestly, I was having a hard time really putting words to what I'm thinking. So let's see what's going on here. More broadly referencing verbal abuse that fans or anyone may experience in their lifetime, instead of allowing such slander to affect yourself, Tyler advises you remove yourself from situations or step off. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was struggling to put it to words. Contrasting is step through in verse 1 regarding inward struggles. Oh, interesting. The third line means that although it may be tough, you can shield yourself from the hate or verbal abuse with the help of friends or a warmer shirt. This idea of shielding personified by clothing is also seen in the track Jumpsuit and in the Pantaloon. The deterioration of one's shirt is symbolic of life's corrosion. Tyler also explains from experience you won't gain these tolerances for harsh words without first being hurt or burnt by them. Yeah, it's true, right? So yeah, you might need some friends or a warmer shirt, these things to help you, but ultimately you do get stronger through facing difficult things. And so if you're desiring to develop thick skin, there's only one way to ultimately get it. We're going to rely pretty heavily on technology and energy to cover up the fact that we're only two people, but I think we can do it. Wow, that's really cool. Obviously, speaking to his younger self is this reminder that's like, hey, when things go different than the way you think they're going to go, or feeling like you need Obviously, it was three guys in the beginning, but they may have even been thinking like, oh, we need to build upon this. We need guitar and bass and drums and keys and whatever. But speaking to him like, hey, we're going to have to rely heavily on technology because I know they build in a lot of backtracking and things like that, and energy, which they bring. Josh backflipping off of stuff, Tyler everywhere all the time, to cover up the fact we're only two people, but I think we can do it. Man, that's a really cool nod to those that understand them better as a band. This one I loved. I don't know which way I'm going, but I can hear my way around. And the way I talked about it is like, you may not be able to be, I think the best way I thought of saying is you may not be able to say like, oh, that's exactly where I'm going. I know it. I got it. Figured out, done, check. But you're going to kind of be wandering around. But if you'll just listen closely, like you'll find your way. Don't worry. Let's see what this says. In previous songs like Addict with a Pen and Migraine, Tyler has illustrated how creating music affects his mental space and has guided him. Here he encouraged a younger version of himself that his musical process will guide him through life, not the hype of others. Okay, that's an interesting way to think about it. And Pet Cheetah, we haven't got there yet. He characterizes his writing process as something he has had a mutual relationship with throughout the years. I got a pet cheetah down in my basement. I raised him, bathed him, and named him Jason Statham. I trained him to make me these beats. Now my pet cheetah's quicker in the studio than on his feet. That's interesting. Spoiler. I mean, I can understand this, but I don't know. I feel like if you're just thinking about more in the way of life, you know, that's just how life is sometimes. A lot of the time, you don't know the most direct route, or you're not 100% sure, but if you'll keep your ears open, like you'll find your way. Nice to know my kind will be... Okay, back into the chorus. Man, another banger. Very cool. Josh is so in the pocket. Tyler's so in the pocket with his writing. So let me know your thoughts on the song in the comments, and let's get some good conversation started there. Thanks for being with me in this one. I hope to see you in the next one, because we're eating good.